Been more than a decade since I've been in this industry, and I have seen every kind of journalist. And again, the numbers are huge. Almost 80% of them, वो OEMs के charter होते हैं. They are here for the OEMs, and they're not journalists. Most of these renowned people also, and I'm pointing them out, not by name, but in general. They're influencers. They're influencing the consumers, being the mouthpiece of the OEM about telling the truth. If it's a good car, okay, tell the good things. If there are some things bad, none of the products are perfect. There are going to be several problems in every product. But you have to bring out the real picture.
Yeah.
What is happening is everyone's showing the rainbows and butterflies. Oh my God, such a wonderful car. Yay, wo. But when you see it in real life, when you experience it in real life, it's absolutely rubbish.
So one thing I wanted to understand about ADAS, what I've noticed is that all cars, almost all the cars today, let's say they have ADAS, and in each manufacturer, ADAS is supposedly behaving differently. Isn't it supposed to be like a standard?
It should be a standard, but the problem is every manufacturer wants to do something differently. Now, in the Indian context, dissect the term ADAS as a disastrous apparatus given to stupids. Because it's something that we do not require at large in India. See, if you're doing highway trips, your lane keeping assist, your adaptive cruise control is something that would be very useful. I've used it, I've loved it. I think it's one of the best features one should have.
Okay.
Then you have auto emergency braking. Of course, we do understand there are emergency situations that happen. Someone comes in front of you, you're driving through your society or your colony, and a kid just jumps onto the road and your car, you don't see it, but your car sees it and presses the brake. The problem is in India, there's not just kids, there is cows, buffaloes, dogs, e-rickshaws, people with phone, people with their hands doing like this, किरणें निकालते हुए यहाँ से कि गाड़ी रुक जाएगी. मतलब उनका अलग एडास चल रहा होता है. And
As if they are controlling the
yeah,
traffic.
I mean,
ऐसे करके चले जाते हैं.
9 out of 10 people who are crossing the road like ऐसे चल रहे होते हैं. मैं कहीं ऐसे यहाँ से एडास हमारा वो adaptive cruise control चल रहा है कि मेरी गाड़ी रुक जाएगी. So I feel it's a pointless feature because especially in these European cars that are launched in India with European standard of ADAS, which has not been tested very vividly and properly in our country, with our country's real life situations, they just make the experience very disastrous. Now there is a German manufacturer who I would not name because of political reasons.
Any particular car about that from that manufacturer?
Every car.
Shit, I was trying to catch.
Whichever car has ADAS in that particular from that particular brand is a recipe for disaster because everything it sees around the road which should not be on the road, which you can divert through as a human being, it just sees it and pushes the brake. And a lot of consumers have DM'd me sharing their experiences, sharing their regret of buying this car because every time you get inside, you have to switch it off. It's a hassle experience and they spend lakhs of rupees, even crores on these cars.
Also,
And I just think to myself, why can't manufacturers really calibrate ADAS for the Indian market? And there are people like us who really are focused on the road while they're driving and they don't need all of these autonomous driving aids. Actually, that should be the case. ADAS is making drivers weaker because you're relied on those systems most of the time. You know, I'm driving on the highway, you know, my car would keep the lane and drive. Uska misuse ho raha hai. Now we've seen so many videos in XUV 700. Now, you know, Mahindra being the Indian brand and people taking pride in it, उसमें ADAS launch कर दिया. लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, टांगे उधर रखते हैं, दूसरी साइड पे पत्ते खेल रहे होते हैं बीच में, ऊनो खेल रहा है 100 की स्पीड पे गाड़ी चलाते हुए. ये क्या हो रहा है? This is what the use of ADAS is in India.
I think
perhaps should not be.
it's become more of an Instagram sort of a thing about
Yeah.
ADAS that हाँ चलो रील
रीलें बना
बनाते
रहे हैं
हैं
उसकी।
कि लेन में अपने आप गाड़ी चलेगी.
हाँ, यही यूज हो रहा है,
हाँ.
एक्चुअल में यूज नहीं है
It's
उसका.
more of a pub trick actually. हाँ.
In India, the driver needs to be focused on the road because no matter, and I really appreciate the government making such fantastic highways all across the country. But कुत्ता, बिल्ली, गाय, भैंस, साइकिल, ई रिक्शा कहीं से ही प्रकट हो जाते हैं. And then you as a driver are supposed to and are responsible for making an action to the car to stop it or save yourself, and not the electronics or not the ADAS system that is there, because they won't be able to. You will end up crashing. So why do you need it in the first place? As per me, my suggestion to most of these OEMs is have a big fat button which says ADAS off right behind the gearbox. So whenever you get inside the car,
Yeah.
for people like you and me, should be able to switch it off. And until and unless I don't switch it back, like we give the cars to someone like our
Yeah.
parents or our girlfriends or our boyfriends who perhaps are not very good with driving, switch it on again. You know, that should be the case. Why do you have to fiddle through the screen and through the options to switch it off? Like, how difficult is it to make it that easy? I'm not saying it's a bad feature,
Yeah.
but it's not a feature made for India. At least until our infrastructure gets into place.
Okay. Another extremely sensitive question. I think I'm also quite excited to hear your views on this.
बहुत सारा पानी पीना पड़ेगा मेरे को अब. You're rubbing your hands.
So, can you discuss the role of ethics in journalism?
Oh ho. Ethics. बहुत बुरा हाल है.
Elaborate.
It's been more than a decade since I've been in this industry, and I have seen every kind of journalist, and again, the numbers are huge. Almost 80% of them वो OEMs के charter होते हैं. They are here for the OEMs. And they're not journalists. Most of these renowned people also, and I'm pointing them out, not by name, but in general. They're influencers. They're influencing the consumers, being the mouthpiece of the OEM. Right? And it's an absurd situation right now. There is zero ethics. If you call yourself a journalist, you should be loud about telling the truth.
Yeah.
If it's a good car, okay, tell the good things. If there are some things bad, none of the products are perfect. There are going to be several problems in every product. But you have to bring out the real picture.
Yeah.
What is happening is everyone's showing the rainbows and butterflies. Oh my God, such a wonderful car. Yay, wo. But when you see it in real life, when you experience it in real life, it's absolutely rubbish. Abhi Maruti Swift launch hui hai. I mean, compare it to the Maruti Swift of the first generation, which had the G13B engine. Wonderfully built car, and it was built by the product team as a statement to the world, that this is something that we can do really well. A premium hatchback with performance-oriented engineering. Now it's a marketing team's gimmick, man. The plastic quality is rubbish. Like my styrofoam cup that I drink my milk from at 24/7 might be better quality than the dashboard quality that it
Are you
has.
serious? Okay.
Things are falling apart. They're unsafe, unreliable cars which are being marketed really well by the media. And not just Swift, like almost every car in this industry right now is marketed and showcased to the world in a very fancy manner so that the people get allured to buy it.
And do you think that's primarily because OEMs are paying these guys to do
course.
it? Okay, so that
It's
actually
a big money game.
So that brings me to one thing that I would like to ask you in the form of what you think. Do you think that if at all these automotive journalists, they do journalism, give honest feedbacks about what the car is like and whatever they get to know about the car in terms of mechanicals, in terms of quality, and OEMs should not market their product by giving these journalists money? Do you think that should be the way forward?
That is the integral intent of how automotive journalism functions.
Okay.
And we have diverted from it. I guess it's been more than a decade since it happened, because back in the days, I remember some very renowned publications used to write very brutal pieces,
Okay.
even in India. Now they've reduced to being influencers. But if that happens, where the journalists are real about their opinions, they really put out the word, what is real, what is not. I guess the quality of products that we're getting in India over the period of time, and I'm giving you a timeline, at least 4 to 5 years, within that time period where people start saying the truth, you'll see some of the best cars in the world that would land up on this subcontinent. Because remember back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, we had such wonderful cars. We did not need the Octavia Combi. It was here. We did not need the Opel Vectra. It was here. We did not need the Ford Mondeo. We had it. Tata was pushed to make a station wagon. Such wonderful times we had. Some amazing cars we've had in the, at least till the first half of 2000s.
Like revolutionary machines,
course.
actually. Yeah. I mean,
The
till
mix-
date, I think in the motorsports space, I think all these, fellow rally drivers and some of the greatest drivers, they still vouch for Esteems,
Of course, yeah.
Gypsies,
Zen
Zens.
Carbons, Zen Carbon.
Huh?
Who asked for a Zen two-door in an economically backlashed country at that point of time?
Exactly. And those things used to last like donkeys of years.
They still do.
They still do.
I
Some
mean,
people still have it.
Look at the prices of the Zen Carbon today. They still sell for 3.5 lakh rupees. That was
Yeah.
the actual price tag then when they were sold.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the quality of cars back in the days was incredible. Why have we reduced to getting all these low quality cars in India as compared to the world outside? Is because all this media that we see, all these publications that we follow and subscribe to, are not showcasing the real picture. Because if they do, 70% of the cars that we get in India would not be here. Or if they were here, they would be at least 20-30% more expensive with the best quality that is available in the world.
And on that, would you like to say a few words to the budding automotive journalists?
I know it is very difficult to be honest when it is the only source of income that you have. And it is the only thing that you will be doing, because at the end of the day, you have to make relationships. This is a business. This is something that they do to get their daily bread. And if they have a bad relationship with every OEM, of course, they'll ban. They would not have the platform to create the content that they want to. The cars won't be there with them. The OEMs would not entertain them. They won't get enough seat time. It's a very difficult situation. And it's a very dirty industry as of today.
Oh, okay.
But if you have the resources, if you have the integrity to stand strong on your feet and make a difference to your industry and the cars that we get in India, might as well do it. It's going to take some time. It's a long, arduous process. It's something that is going to put you into a lot of trouble, because these big corporations have a lot of money to cover their damages. But if you are capable of doing that, do it. Every small effort towards making this industry cleaner is going to create a huge impact on the quality of cars that we get. And that has been my intention. And I really hope we have that change happening very soon.
Okay. So, one last question on a lighter note. As we were talking about crash tests and safety and quality of cars and retaining that quality of cars, and then those cars being sold through the production team and not the marketing team, two brands that you really feel are doing really well in that space, in that context?
It's a very tough question, but Mahindra is one.
Okay.
I have heard a lot of bad things about Mahindra cars in general because the consumers do complain, okay, there are some things that are going wrong. But the kind of development that they're having as an Indian brand, it's massive.
Okay.
They got the Scorpio in last year, and in Australia they are comparing it against the Land Cruiser Prado.
Oh, wow.
And it's a very popular brand across a lot of countries. Even in our country, they're giving such good quality, well equipped, and honest cars.
And does it, like we were talking earlier about vehicles from coming out from Tata or probably any other manufacturer as well, that कभी उसका Android Auto में issue आ रहा है, कभी इसमें issue आ रहा है. Do you think Mahindra is also the same, or it's better than
It's
that?
very different. Now, with Mahindra, it is whenever they have an issue with any of their products or anything that is integrated into the product, let's say the Android Auto or even any electronics, I guess they are the quickest to fix it across the board.
Okay.
A lot of people might disagree with me, but the kind of volumes that they're playing with is massive. And for an Indian manufacturer, which has grown out from making Thars and Boleros to be making modern SUVs that are supremely capable,
Yeah.
and still be able to fix most of these problems on time without creating a massive outbreak of consumers complaining it out on the public is a huge deal. That is what Tata needs to do, and Tata needs to learn from. I'm not saying Tata is a bad company at all, but there is so much improvement that they need to do. So Mahindra is doing really good with that. Secondly is Toyota. I mean, of course, how can we go wrong with that? Even by today's standard, the kind of products that are pushing out of Toyota's factory, I mean, you see the Innova Hycross. They're
And
like-
these guys, they don't advertise, they don't market.
because they're sold out. They're like, who should we market for? We don't have enough resources to manufacture enough cars that are being demanded. Now, the Innova Hycross, when we saw that there is a huge backlash of diesel cars being banned across the states, and the government saying that we won't be able to allow you to drive these diesel cars for more than 10 years, they're like, okay, we'll give you a petrol-powered Innova, we'll add on a battery, we'll make it hybrid. This will be more efficient than a Maruti Alto, and you can seat 6 people or 7 people with absolute comfort. We'll give you all the bells and features. And here it is. A nice, reliable, safe car that you would love to have for the next foreseeable future. And they excelled in it. Why is it so popular? That's the reason. They're like, do we want to expand our manufacturing? No. We want to focus on giving good quality cars.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to redevelop or bring out a new version. The Toyota Fortuner has been going on since 2017.
Oh. What? Fifth generation?
Yeah. And how many things have changed in that new updated thing? Just the taillight and the headlamp and some parts of the interior.
Yeah.
And they've given that so popular
Yeah.
Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Doesn't have a sunroof, doesn't have ADAS, still has a waiting period. Why? It's a Toyota. They run on reliability.
Focused. Completely focused.
Shouldn't say this, but most of the bad guys in the world use Toyotas. That says a lot.
And I think, giving my opinion on that, huge fan of what Volvo is doing. And I think you just mentioned something about Lexus also. Would you like to say something about these two as well? Because I think you've had your fair share of experience with Volvo as well.
Volvo
and
is-
Lexus, you are having an experience right now.
I've had almost every Lexus that is available in India right now. Initially, even I was like, boss, ठीक है, Toyota का luxury brand है, क्या ही special होगा? But once you start living with it and you compare it to other cars, and you're like, boss, those other cars just don't stand anywhere near to it. Of course, it's not performance oriented. It's not like the German cars with a lot of horsepower and some German Oktoberfest waitress massaging you from the back. You don't get those feelings. I mean, you don't get the orgasmic feeling that you need out of a performance oriented. It's a relaxed car. It's probably make you feel like you're in your 40s or 50s at the age of 20s and 30s. But that outlook is really good. They want to give you, and they're very focused about it. They want to give you a nice, luxurious, high quality, and reliable car that you will buy and your grandkids would enjoy. Super reliable, cheaper to maintain, look beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
They are over engineered. I mean, the first time I had a Lexus was about 3 years ago. For the first time, I kept on after so long, I started pushing a brand that I want to test your car, I want to drive your car, and they kept on saying no to me.
Why?
And ultimately, I landed up with a Lexus NX, and I had it for a week, and I just loved it. Big physical buttons for everything. Rotors for everything. You had a massive analog clock in the middle. You got this beautifully fragrant leather.
Yeah.
I mean, you can smell real leather. What do you get these days? Even a Mercedes S-Class, gets for leather. You pay 2 crore rupees for something. Oh, they're like, oh, Lewis Hamilton says that you have to go vegan. Why? I mean, that's not luxury. I do understand there is the question of sustainability and
Animal rights and all that.
animal rights,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Stop eating beef in US. Stop eating beef in UK. Stop eating beef in Germany. Then talk about sustainability. Change your home first before preaching it to the world.
Yeah.
Until unless you're not doing it, please keep on giving good quality, real leather in our cars.
Napa leather.
I love that with Lexus. Lexus is like, we make the best A1 quality Wagyu beef. And we'll use the same beef to give you the best quality leather in our cars. If you're a vegan, sorry, we're not selling you the car.
It's not for you.
It's not our problem.
Yeah.
We'll make cars that would sustain a lifetime.
And I
Your
think,
lifetime, your grandkids'
oh, yeah.
lifetime, they'll love it. They would
Yeah.
be happy to use it. They would still smell the beautiful fragrance of real leather. They won't be trying to stitch that for leatherette thing even
Yeah.
after spending so much money. They've got good quality wood inside. The sound system is wonderful. I mean, Lexus is a very orgasmic. I mean, you can see it out of my
Yeah.
expression. It's a very, it's a very orgasmic experience, and that's why I advocate it so much. They're very relaxed cars. I can do multiple thousand kilometers in a day, and I've never felt, lethargic with those cars. And I knew it has been backed in terms of its after-sales service by Toyota. I had a Lexus LX 500D very recently in the month of February. And me and my fiance, we went to Narkanda. It was snowing over there, and I was trying on cruise control while I was coming back, and there was some snag, some small error code that showed for the cruise control, that cruise control is not functioning. So there's this workshop in Solan, Anand Toyota. I got into that workshop at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I went to a gentleman and I was like, listen, I have a Lexus 500D outside, and uska ऐसे वो काम नहीं कर रहा है, उसका कुछ problem है. He was like, cool sir, I'll just give me 15 minutes, I'll try to fix it. He called a technician. He had a OBD machine which he plugged into the car, and he went to the Lexus section and he did that cancelling code and whatever, and the car was good. So for a person who has a 2.5-3 crore rupee SUV, to have the access to a Toyota workshop and get his car fixed in a matter of seconds or matter of minutes, I mean, you get best customer service,
Yeah.
reliable car, supremely luxurious thing. And when I say luxury, it has to be high quality.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Luxury is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Sorry. If you say that luxury is sustainable, oh, we need wool and we need Alcantara and all these, you're fooling yourself. They're the best in terms of quality. And that's why I've loved it. And similar thing was and is with Volvo as well. They give, now they've moved to the sustainability part that they're trying to be electric and, very good to the bees that are humming around over here as well.
Yeah.
But up till the time when you had the S90, oh God, the quality of leather, the quality of wood, that Bowers and Wilkins sound system, which was epic still in today's standard. You sit in a Rolls-Royce Phantom and then you sit in a Volvo S90, the Volvo S90 would have a better sound system.
Yeah.
It's that good. So their focus on giving good quality, comfortable, luxurious cars, they've won the intent. And the people who are their customers, they've won in life.
Yeah.
Because if you're stuck to a manufacturer just by how it makes you feel in front of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, how it showcases you as an image in
Yeah.
front of the world. Oh,
Yeah.
it just grows hair on my chest.
Yeah.
You're a fool. Once you spend crores of rupees on a car, you need to feel good.
Of course.
And I guess these two manufacturers
Yeah.
do it the best when it comes to the experiential part.
And I think Volvo, I can say with pride, because of course I own one, their focus is very clear. And I think a couple of years back they made the statement that by 2030 or some 2028 they'll make death-proof cars. Boss, that's a bloody deadly statement to make. I mean,
They still make
and
death-proof
and
cars.
I kind of believe it when it comes out of Volvo.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I just wish that Pune kid would have had a Volvo and not a... ऐसे नहीं लिखना पड़ता.
This part needs to go out. But on that,
Volvo saves you from 300-word essays. Marketing.
I think that's one thing very solid about Volvo, that they have they are so clear about safety. And
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody who's watching this, or anybody and everybody who's watching this, Volvo safety test, crash tests. Go on YouTube, search for Volvo testing, crash testing facility or safety testing facility, and just watch the videos. You'll be blown away how these guys are testing. These guys are like way ahead.
But just think about it.
Huh.
Isn't that the intent of a car?
Oh yes,
To move from point A to point B in the safest manner.
exactly.
Like, you would not want to die in any situation in a car.
Of course, and I agree to the fact that Volvo is not the best car for enthusiasts, but you know what? It's a different segment altogether. I mean, you need to own a Volvo to really feel that. I mean, I think the best one strong part about Volvo is, I think क्या 12 साल में एक बार डिजाइन चेंज करते हैं?
10 साल.
10 साल में एक बार चेंज करते हैं. I mean, and look at majority of the OEMs changing designs in like almost every.
But then they
every year.
design their cars in a very timeless manner.
Beautiful.
Even by today's standard, if I were to buy a luxury 6-7-seater SUV
Yeah.
for my family, I would still consider the XC90 because of how beautiful it looks even by 2024 standards.
Of course.
Like, everything is timeless, the design, it's very clean.
Yeah.
It does not shout, oh, look at me, I am the sexiest, I've got so much makeup on my face. No.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, I'm simple.
Chalo, I think it's been a great session with you today. Tons we can go on talking about sensitive issues.
I've never spoken so much after waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I've never made you speak so much. Point to be noted, but thank you so much.
That was wonderful, bro.
Thanks.